Right, so what are we doing today?
We're making another toilet video.
It's the installation video. We have to remove the existing toilet, cap off the exhaust and the water supply to that toilet so that we do not have what remains of the contents of our pump out tank pumping out onto the floor. Alright, we're in front of the something lock.
Sunbury.
It's too damn early in the morning.
We've been to Tesco's 4 times in the last 24 hours. 2 times just to use the toilet.
Yeah, so when you install the Airhead, you have to read the instructions all the way through.
The critical thing that we missed.
Which probably should be at the front is, so you're starting to install your Airhead.
One day before you install it,
Put the coir into a bucket and start adding water to it. Because by the time you get the damn thing installed, and
Half installed,
yeah, we haven't even got the airflow in yet. By the time you got it that far and you want to start using it, you're not going to be able to if you don't have the coir, which has to be hydrated for quite a while and then broken up into a sort of soil-like consistency to be used to make night soil.
so when we finished working, well, we didn't finish the job, but we finished working at 9 o'clock last night.
We drove up to a 24-hour Tesco's. 6 a.m. this morning, we woke up and drove to a 24-hour Tesco's.
Just have to get that out.
She has to get that ant. We found this morning that we've been invaded by ants.
Just to add to our... So yesterday we managed to get the old toilet out, which is sitting here.
Sitting below us. Well, it smelled good.
It wasn't that messy.
So it turns out whoever originally fitted this boat actually seems to have used the incorrect size hose for the outlet, which probably explains a large portion of our problems.
The guy at the marina explained to us that because the boat's like 12 years old,
There's probably a fairly large amount of, I'm not sure the word, anyway, accumulation of, let's just call it chemistry on the inside of that hose. Anyway, that whole thing aside, we did eventually get the toilet fitted.
No, let's talk about the extraction.
The extraction.
So
Yeah.
turned off the inlet water.
Turned off the inlet water.
Pulled out the toilet a little bit.
Yeah. Disconnected the electrics. Eventually got the exhaust disconnected. Then there was the adventure of capping off the water pipe, which was 1 inch in diameter, which meant that Joe had to go in by a 3/4 inch end cap. Pulled the whole unit out, and because I'd thrown my back out, Joe had to carry it out
like a hero.
Like a hero, just manned up and took it out the front door where it sits.
Which still is. As a feature.
As a feature of the bow of our boat.
Yeah, and then a really long time it took us to decide on the position, because the old toilet was an angle and we thought it would go in an angle, and then we realised it might be better if it went in straight, but then there was the problem with that because the lid
platform wouldn't have supported the
urine tank,
and
the seat lid wouldn't have opened properly. But that was the best place for the exhaust to get hidden and go up and out.
Yeah. So then we ended up having to choose a place where the exhaust goes out in kind of a not very ideal direction.
And we tried the exhaust on the left and the right, on the left, on the right, back and forth.
Yeah.
Lots of discussion. But then we kind of realised that we're going to be changing the flooring in there at some point in the next year, probably. So wherever we put it is probably going to end up being somewhat temporary. And it's slightly off centre, but that doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
No, there was 2 things we had to do before we could fit it. Where the little platform is, where the pump out was, there was a lip at the front, and the old toilet sat behind the lip, but this toilet was too long. Like the main bit was fine, but the urine tank was on the lip, so I was allowed to chisel the top bits off.
Well, I was trying to glue and bolt the air exhaust vent. Because of the way we're fitting it is going to be at quite a bit of tension, so I was like, okay, I'm going to actually bolt it.
And someone in the comments of the last video actually suggested that as well.
Yeah, which is a great comment and really, really helpful.
Those 2 jobs took too long, really.
Too long.
Longer than they should have done.
Yeah, and then we had to actually fit the toilet. The toilet has these metal brackets, 4 metal brackets, 2 on either side of the solids tank, 2 on either side of the liquids tank. So it would be really great if there was a template, like a piece of paper that you could just sort of put down and go, okay, drill a hole, 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 drill a hole.
This is where the toilet sits.
Yeah.
This is where the holes go.
Yeah.
Or you even suggested instead of 4 little brackets, just like 1 big base plate.
Yeah.
You just put down, because it was like place the toilet, mark the brackets, take the toilet away out of it's a small space.
Yeah. Drill 2 holes.
Drill the holes for the first one.
Put
it
the
back
screws in. Put it back in.
Mark the second one. Take it out.
Yeah. And
Drill
now
the hole, and the toilet was like in and out and in and out.
In and out. Yeah. Then we had the realization about the coir.
It said for 1 brick you needed 1.5 to 2 quarts of water.
Yeah.
What's a quart? And it turns out a quart is 2 pints.
Yeah.
So then this morning we had to be up early because the moorings we were on actually are closed today. There's some kind of event happening over in Sunbury.
There's the Lord Mayor's something or other parade, and so they've actually shut all of it to mooring today. So we had to be off. First thing this morning.
It's really annoying because the car was over there in like a really convenient parking space.
And in the middle of the night, they brought up like a venue boat or something that sat beside us. So
at 3 a.m. I think it arrived.
Yeah. So
today we need to finish the install.
And to do that, we need to get to another mooring.
We need to go through this lock, get to another mooring. Yeah. Which, even though our old mooring was literally over there, and the new mooring is 400 yards that way. It's an hour walk to get across the river, and then we just need to drill a hole in the boat.
Just a big old hole.
Michael's in the bath.
Michael's in the tub. It's a very small tub. It's just big enough for Michael.
It's too windy to record outside, and the big weir is making a lot of noise. So
a lot of noise.
We thought it'd be appropriate to be in the bathroom, looking at our lovely new toilet.
Yes, the Airhead is installed over there. Wasn't the simplest process. I mean, we did do some...
It was a 2-day, probably a 1 full day fit. We didn't start till 3 p.m. on the first day. But then yesterday, which was the second day, we were going till like 8 p.m.
9 or something.
But some of that time was me running around to screw fit
and things.
And we had to move the boat in the middle of the day.
Yeah, because of the procession of the Lord Mayor's something or other, in which there was going to be a extremely fancy boat, Queen Elizabeth's Jubilee yacht, and a bunch of other things. We were not allowed to stay in Sunbury, and we had to proceed up the Sunbury lock to the weir. I'm sitting at the side of the boat and actually doing the drilling of the hole for the air vent.
When the Lord Mayor went past, we ran outside to wave, and she goes past, and all the rowers are smiling because they can see that I've got my camera. And then Michael says to me afterwards, yeah, she went past and we were waving and smiling, but then the old toilet's just sat in the bow of the boat, so I wonder what she thought of that.
There's this regal wooden yacht and everything, and I'm just like, thank God the Queen isn't aboard. So the fun part of the day was drilling the hole for the air vent. We had a nice position in place. There was where the old shaver mount was. Nice exposed position where we could actually see to the steel.
And there was the 12-volt.
12-volt power was there, which was necessary for doing the fan. So after a little bit of rewiring to make sure that 12-volt was coming off the right switch, we had this nice prepared place. So I have to drill a pilot hole from the inside to the out.
Also, just putting a hole in your boat is really like nerve-wracking.
Well, now I've got to go around to the other side and begin the actual drilling out of the larger hole, which has to be 75 mil in diameter. That requires a hole saw, and I got it all set up and started to go, and the very first thing that happens is the first battery on our cordless drill dies about half a second after we've carved a great big circle into our paint.
Yeah, maybe a 100th of a millimeter.
Yeah.
We've basically taken the paint off.
It's like great, we've shredded our paint. Excellent. So we're fully committed now. We've got a 6 millimeter hole through the boat and a shredded circle of paint. At least we know where we're going. Unfortunately, the second battery, this is an old drill, the second battery lasts all of a couple of minutes. Then we pull out my great big Ryobi hammer drill that is not exactly ideal for this sort of thing. Get the hole saw on it, and now I'm driving it manually, and we got down to about 1.5 millimeters in over maybe an hour and a half. And then the battery dies on that one, and then we had to switch to another battery.
And we've got the batteries on rotation on the charger.
Yeah, which means the engine's running to keep the inverter powering up the battery chargers. The Ryobi starts to overheat, so I have to leave it up front on the bow to cool in the wind. We get some helpful advice from a guy who just happens to be coming off onto his little boat in front of us, who actually drills steel for a living. And so I end up with taking my Dremel and running the battery out on it, drilling little holes around the inside circumference of the what the hole saw has done.
So like a circle of little holes.
Yeah, little holes. I get about halfway through it before the battery dies, but in the meantime I've killed my drill bit, completely destroyed it, so it won't go any further in. No, about another 30 minutes later, we punch through. So we get the donut, the thing which will no doubtly be turned into some sort of triumphant medallion once I can deburr off the razor sharp bits. So now we've got to continue the rest of the way through. Luckily, that only takes a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that was really quick.
Well, so at that point, we've got to be able to fit the Vetus clamshell that we purchased to the outside, and it takes 6 screws to attach it. And I realized that all I've got of the types of screws that we need are these very small ones, for which I have only one tap and one remaining drill bit. We had to move back down to Sudbury through the locks so we could drop Jo off so that she could run up and grab a couple of extra drill bits, which then led to there being too much selection of drill bits and not being able to find the right ones, so she had to come back, pick me up, drive over there.
That's not why I came back. If I had been left to choose the drill bits, I would have chosen some drill bits, but Mike was like, "You've got to come and get me, I need the bathroom." So
because we still can't use the Airhead at this point because we haven't got the air hooked up.
Sorry if that's TMI. I was like, well, if I'm going to get him to use the toilet, he can choose his own drill bits. So
yeah, so back to get the drill bits.
I've only been to Tesco's like
8
times in 24 hours by this time.
The remaining 6 holes get drilled fairly rapidly. Then I have to tap all 6 holes. The first 3 holes go no problem. Then the 4th one begins, and then I realize that the tap, just at the last second, like for the first time, I see that the tap itself is flexing a tiny bit, so I immediately stop and try and rewind it, and it binds and snaps, leaving a broken bit of tungsten, or not tungsten, carbide steel, sitting inside one of the vital holes that we needed.
This was not a good moment in our day.
No, this is really not a good moment because there's no way to seal this thing on without the screws. We could maybe get away without one of them, but we can't get away without all of them.
So I jump in the car, run off to Screwfix, but the only option is to buy a whole tap kit, which is like £24. Get to Screwfix, not in stock. He offers to order one in for Monday, but I tell him I need it today. It's like 5:30. He doesn't mention that there's another Screwfix 10 minutes drive away that has 3 in stock. I eventually work that out, so then by the time he's checked the stock, I've got 20 minutes to drive to the next screw fix, and they're pulling their shutters down when I get there. And then I get them to get the tap kits out. Well, they get me one, and I look at the tap, and you can just see that the screw on there is like paper thin and like not even, you know, each one is like a different thickness. So I was like, this, if the other one snapped, this is going to snap. So we got the other kits out, and they were even worse. So we made the decision not to waste 27 quid on it.
So instead, I took a whole bunch of marine adhesive that we were going to have to use, you know, to seal this thing in. Jammed a bead of it around both of the inside and the outside hole, pushed the plastic liner through, squeezed it like mad, moved it around to make sure that there was a good seal with the plastic liner, all of which was going to have to happen with or without the screws. Screwed on the 3 screws that I actually had available to me, filled the rest, and so we've kind of got a temporary fix until I can get some actual taps. And maybe figure out some way of removing the soft, crappy tap from the hole that it is currently blocking.
But if not, we'll have 5 holes and one
fake one.
But don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anybody that. Little
But
secret.
also it means that when we do that to fix it properly, we can put another fly screen in, because we didn't realise that it would be a good idea to have a fly screen on the outside. Like there's 2 fly screen. No, there's 1 fly screen on the hose, and then there's a fly screen in the.
On the inlet.
Yeah, so nothing can get in, but it just would mean that flies can't get to the fan either.
Which would make life a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. With all the bad luck, there's a bit of good luck. You
have to look on the bright side.
Exactly. So then we have to come into the inside and attach the inside version of this thing. So we've got to attach the inside portion of the vent, which requires attaching up an electric fan, which means we need to wire up the fan. That was fun.
Especially when Michael said, before he actually did it, he was like, turn the electric off. So it's like, yeah, it's off.
Yeah.
2 minutes later, it's like, it's not off.
I'm jumping because of the shock that I've just received, because it wasn't off. The sparks and the flame were all a good indication that we probably should have flipped that switch. So, with the switch flipped, I'm able to get the fan wired up, and then the 2 of us had to work together. I'm just like, Dremel, slap. Zzz, screwdriver, slap. Okay, screw. All right, Dremel. Yeah.
And the boat by this stage was like a bomb site. Like we tried to keep it tidy, but like
no, there's tools everywhere. There was
every available surface, like in the bedroom, in the kitchen, in the dining, in the saloon.
It was an absolute disaster.
So then we're still not finished, even though we're exhausted, and it's like 7 o'clock at night. We had to attach the hose, which involves inserting the fly screen in the middle section, so you have to find an appropriate part, and then cut the hose and insert the fly screen and screw it onto the top and screw it on the bottom and there.
And there's glue involved at one point. All of which goes to say that installing one of these things is actually not that hard.
It's not. None of the particular parts of it were that complex, but there's just a lot of parts to it.
But we can say that it does work.
Yeah, so we've now been using the toilet for 24 hours.
Yeah, we're still newbies. We have realized that our coffee filter budget is going to go up by a massive degree.
So this is the coffee filter that is handily by the toilet.
Yeah,
it's really
they're very convenient. It actually works really quite well when the liquids tank is empty. It really sounds like you're peeing on your feet.
One positive thing is, like, if Michael used the bathroom in the middle of the night when we had the pump out, I'd hear the macerator kick in. Don't hear this, no sound. Like, there is a sound when you do the flap, but it's not enough to wake me up.
The only other sound that's consistently there is the sound of the exhaust fan, which is just a fairly...
It's just like very quiet white noise, it's not...
Yeah, it's just a computer fan.
And the other thing is, with the pump out, like, it did smell like when you flushed and I was in the bed, like I did smell it. Yeah, like I felt when we had the pump out, like I didn't want to use the bathroom because like I'm getting to the pump out sooner and I'm like filling up our tank, whereas this, we fill up the liquids tank, but it's not, I don't have the same like feeling of, oh, I shouldn't use the bathroom, I should try and find a public bathroom.
Yeah, and I got to empty the liquids tank this morning, which was an interesting experience. There was an L-sand point at the lock as I was coming back up, and I got to learn that, pointer to the designers of Airhead, It'd be great if there was like a screw-on, say, watering attachment or funnel.
Or if the tank was designed so that when you turned it upside down,
it naturally funned. Yeah.
Because at the moment it's flat with the thing. With the
so what you end up with the, you just got to be careful. I'm impressed so far. We'll see how it is in a couple of months. This is our last toilet video for now.
Do you realise that we've made, on our YouTube channel, we've made 15 videos, of which 3 have been about toilets?
Yes, this is the last of the toilet videos until we've got at least a couple of months, and we can do a comprehensive review and, and tell you how it works out. It was not low stress, it was not easy. You gotta have some...
I mean, if you're used to drilling steel, then it's probably easy, but we're not. It's like...
No, and it is definitely daunting and loud. Very, very loud.
So now we get to relax and just enjoy our boat.
Yeah, because batteries need to be replaced and solar needs to be done, and then we can maybe think about replacing the sofa with a desk, and I can actually work. So yeah, now we get to enjoy our boat in 2 months, maybe 3. There you go. 24-hour test goes. And when we woke up this morning, yes, it's a bug. It's a strange looking bug. Fascinating. 6 a.m. this morning, we woke up after having finished what we were doing.
Sleeping. Luckily we had a pint measure.
Yeah, because it was either that or figure out the conversion for 2 pickle jars, which themselves were like...
It was in grams, that wasn't in liquid.
Yeah, well, there's a way of figuring that out.
Yeah, but weight of pickles is not the same as...
No, I know. There's a thing called a calculation for volume of the cylinder. Sorry. I could have figured out the volume of the pickle jar.
Oh, but from the measurement?
Yeah.
I thought you meant from the weight of the pickles.
That's like, how many pickles are in there? There's 3 pickles left. Okay. So that means we've subtracted what? 60 grams per pickle.
That's what I thought you meant.
Right.
Right here.
We are broadcasting to you from my tub.
But with this...
Or, ladies and gentlemen, if she flushed and I was in the bed, it also smelled?
You know that's getting edited out.
Yeah, I'm sure that's getting out. It wasn't just when I flushed that it smelled.